Hello and welcome to the module. My name is Gary Elvin, the pleasure of being the module tutor. This is intended to be a short introduction to what the module is going to be about and what you will cover across the semester. First of all, let's think about why we do web, why it's important to us all. Web systems are really everywhere now. There are obvious ones like websites and backend systems that companies use for all kind of software purposes, like accountancy software, etc. So web is pretty pertinent to all computing careers. For example, you might become a programmer, programming the back-end or front-end of web-based systems yourself. You become a manager where you're managing teams, we have web developers involved. It's good to know the language, so you can speak and understand what they're talking about. You might be managing a procurement project to buy a web-based system. So again, understanding web is important to all of that kind of thing. And working in web security, forensics analysis of web content, what kind of content is built and what it's about. And of course, networks is what the internet works on. So it's very important to networking careers as well. Module itself, well, we're going to start from scratch, presuming no prior knowledge, so it's fair to everybody, regardless of what your background is and what you've done. Be careful though, if you have done web before, it's easy to fall into a trap thinking you know it all. You probably don't, and you don't accidentally do badly or fail. So give the module lots of care and attention. Basically follow certain web standards, and all the module workshops are there for a purpose as the lectures, help guide us towards doing the assignment. So do them all and work for all of those. So we first of all in the module, say we start from scratch, we learn the basics of creating, as we'll look at later, describing web content in a meaningful kind of manner, getting that right. Then look at how we style our content and lay it out in a real world professional kind of way, building those kind of skills up. But the focus is not on the design side, not designers or computer scientists type people. Therefore, base focus on the technology side of techniques of doing these things. So when you expect you to be a brilliant designer, don't worry about that. We'll look at within all this, look at the importance of designing for accessibility. What do I mean by accessibility? Well, it's like accessibility for the visually impaired, the disabled in general. It's important legally and commercially to get the access to more many people to your site as possible. It's also about accessibility for device types. People access the web nowadays by a different range of devices, from mobiles through to full desktop size machines. Different web browsers are used. Designing for that is a challenge, and we look at how to best design for that kind of challenge. Then in the second half of the module, we look at going dynamic, introducing back-end programming from languages like PHP, how we can interact with the user, collect data from the user via forms, interact with databases, the back-end, to write online orders to the database, like registration, login to LT, that kind of thing. We work towards that, understand how that's done, and interact with the user via back-end data programming, and so on. Then towards the end of the module, we look at the basics of web security, a bit of cyber security. We have a guest speaker coming from industry who is a big expert in this area, so he'll add to our knowledge as well. How is module delivered? Well, every week you'll get 1 or 2 pre-recorded lectures, and we expect you to view those before you do the workshop tasks, the practicals. So they'll be online by Blackboard. Workshops obviously online as well, of course, possibly in person later, depending on how it goes, COVID. But basically all the materials will be on Blackboard, and you'll be given tasks to do week by week. As I said a few moments ago, all the tasks are there for a particular reason. They're all there to help you develop the skills you need to do well on the assignment. So please do all the tasks and work for all the guided learning, etc. that's provided to give yourself a good chance of doing really well. So we'll use Blackboard, as we said, for the workshops. There'll be sort of live interaction with a tutor or two in your workshops by Blackboard Collaborate. Also possibly use Microsoft Teams if you need to talk one-to-one to people. And there'll be a second workshop Kind of like a support workshop, I expect you all to go to as well, and that will be designed for you to continue on working what you started in the first workshop with a tutor there in support by Collaborate or Teams or whatever is required as well. Okay. With guided learning, as you say, sort of practice makes perfect, and practice is very important to the web. We can introduce the theory, of course, in the lectures. That's a good signpost, but to do well, you really need to do lots of practice with yourselves, coding, and reading around the subject as well, of course, is always a good plan. Blackboard, as I've alluded to, is used a lot in this module. It's kind of a key thing. So based on Blackboard's site, there's an area with a modular guide to the week-by-week plan. This is an introduction of information as well about how to contact me, etc. The lectures will be posted there, as we say, before the beginning of the week. All those short tasks, occasionally sample solutions when that's relevant help you. They'll be posted as well, so watch out for those. The assessment spec will be put on Blackboard. A submission and feedback come by Blackboard as well. And that brings the question of what is the assignment. The assignment is 100% practical. No exams in this module. It's a web build, as you might expect for the nature of the module. You're given a scenario and asked to build something to a certain spec, and you submit that the week after the end of teaching in May time, thereabouts. That's the module in a nutshell. Say you get lectures every week. The one posted for you to look at for the first week, and so on, week by week. Any questions? Talk to your tutors in the seminars, the workshops, or email me via the details on Blackboard. Thank you very much. See you later.